Hey everybody, how's it going? I think it's time. I think it's time for us to be honest with each other. And I'm being honest with you guys because that's what I feel is proper for me to do as not only a creator, but also as just as a person that, you guys tend to like to talk to. So, where do I start? Um, I would have to say that I do have a bit of a struggle with procrastination. I always have, like there's always been like in my mind and on paper, it seems like it's okay. Like even having it in a Google Calendar or something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, like I'll have no problem. I'll be able to, figure this out and it'll be fine. But then once I actually go to apply that said thing. So just recently I put down, okay, I'm going to work out 3 times a week and possibly start doing yoga in the evenings because I used to do that. 11 years ago, I used to be doing that. And 7 of these years I've been working. So, but once I started working, just kind of the build up to where I was working out and I was doing the thing, it was only because I had a lot more time on my hands because I was unemployed and I could just spend the days, like staring at the ceiling, thinking about crap that I didn't need to think about. But now it's like I really feel like I need to do that. And then I watched a video the other day, by somebody by the name of Haley Honeyman. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. If not, I will put her in the description. But she was talking about the 7 different types of physical rest that we all need as human beings, and how some of us actually need more of that rest in order to live a more fulfilled and more calm lifestyle. And I never thought about this. But so like for somebody like myself who works 7 hours a week at a very 7 hours a week. Oh my God, what am I talking about? Who works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Um, I come home and I'm exhausted. I am exhausted by the day because I had put a lot of unnecessary pressure, stress, anxiety, all of that onto myself, thinking that, okay, if I'm not getting everything done in an 8-hour day, why am I even here? Like, like um, I haven't succeeded or I haven't accomplished anything because I haven't got it done all in an 8-hour spiral. And that is the worst mindset that anybody can be in. And I am the worst for being stuck with that. And I have been trying my hardest to try to get out of that and to try not to think about it. So the first type of rest that she was talking about was physical rest. So not only is it for somebody like me who works a 8-hour job, and it is physically demanding. I'm bending over, I'm washing floors, I'm cleaning toilets, I am, dusting, I'm mopping down things, I'm cleaning windows, wardrobes, I'm doing laundry, and, like even with our laundry machine at work, it's elevated a little bit because there's a heating vent underneath it. Don't ask me why, because it's just the way the building was constructed. Um, but yeah, it's elevated a little bit. So somebody who's 5'3", almost 5'4". I wish I was, but I'm not. I have to stand on my tippy toes in order to, bend over and put all the laundry into the washing machine, right? So I took a day and I was analyzing, and I'm like, no wonder my lower back side on my right side hurts so much because it is a repeated mechanical strain that I've been putting on myself because I've been trying to lift things incorrectly. But also, another part that she brought up with is that yes, you could be doing a whole bunch of physical activity during the day, but you can also not be implementing other forms of physical activity that don't necessarily involve like the bending and the lifting and the stretching. So like for example, I could do my full day, my full 8-hour shift, come home, and then I could maybe do like 10 minutes of like like theoretically speaking, like I'm just gonna say like of like lifting weights. I could do 10 minutes of that because it's different type of physical movement. It's physical rest. It's still working your muscles, but it's working your muscles in a way that they're eventually going to become attuned to, as opposed to just being rushed, being pushed to their limits, like you're bending, you're stretching, you're like jerking, all of that. And I was thinking, huh, that is interesting. So then I tried it out. I tried it out. I mean, I'm probably going to put it into practice maybe this week sometime, like Monday. I might give it a try and I'll see. Um, but I just found that was a very interesting point that she had brought up. And then moving on forward to that is mental rest. And I'm not going to lie, I am a walking mental case. I spend a lot of my time stuck in my own head, stuck in my own thoughts, thinking about anything and everything, and most of it is crap that does not even apply to any situation that I am in. It is just always constant thought, constant worry, constant anxiety, constant stress, and I've tried to get better at slowing down and then being like, okay, like, whew, you gotta just take it easy. You gotta just forget about everything you know about what you're thinking about because it doesn't pertain to anything and just focus on, other things. So then after a day of me being in my own head, I've started to integrate journaling a little bit more, or I will take time during my day and I will turn on the relax notion on my watch. I don't have my watch on now, but and then I will just take like 5 minutes to breathe, or even 2 minutes, depending if I get too scrambled up here. Sometimes it just helps just to sit down and just relax and breathe. Um, I'm not consistent with it, and consistency is another thing that I really have to work on, and I want to. But yeah, when it comes to mental rest, sometimes at the end of a long day, the last thing that I want to do, it's like, I don't want to do physical rest. I don't want to, I don't want to do any of the other rests. I want to mentally rest. And that could possibly mean for me just to lie down for a good 20 minutes, take a nap, and then I'm usually good. Because the next part of rest that I'm going to get into is sensory rest. And let me tell you, in recent years, I have become so overloaded sensor-wise that it has kind of started to become a problem, and it started to kind of affect my life in a way that I never had thought before. So, recently, and I've talked about this before, and I was thinking of making a video of this, but I have gone and I have bought loop earplugs, and they're tiny little earplugs that you stick into your ear. And there's three different types. There's loop engage, there's loop quiet, and there's loop experience. So I have loop experience and I have loop quiet. Or either no, I think I have loop engage and loop quiet. So with loop engage specifically, you can stick them into your ear, and they have an acoustic channel to where if you're sitting in front of somebody, you can still hear the conversation, but it's turning down the volume of everything else that's going on. So like for me, I'm listening to washer and dryers. I am listening to electrical hums. I have exterior fans running. Somebody's running a tap. Call bell systems are going off, telephones, radios, TVs. people's cell phones, the sounds of somebody's feet down the hallway, the sounds of a cane and the sounds of a walker going down like going down the hallway. Um, even the sound of my coworkers and people talking, and it's just over time, I will sit there and I will just be like my stress level will just be beyond control. So in the last couple of months, I have taken the precaution to wear my loops almost every day, and it makes a world of difference. And then with the loop quiet, they help when I sleep because I'm not the heaviest sleeper, and I'm not the most qualified sleeper. Quality is not a sleep goal for me, because it just doesn't happen. It's like I go to bed, I fall asleep, I sleep for a couple hours, wake up at maybe 2 a.m., go back to sleep, and then my alarm gets me up. So it's like, no, well, I just lost like a good hour or so just lying here, and and then I think that kind of goes more into the other part of rest that I'm going to talk about is social rest. And social rest is basically being on your phone too much. I am so bad for it. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have spent the last couple of months using downtime in my phone just to try to turn everything off. Like just all of the notifications, all of the messages, all of the pinging sounds that are driving me nuts. Because before I was like, okay, I will keep my phone on for emergencies or, if somebody has to get in contact with me. But then I realized that, my emergency circle is very, very small. So I'm like, well, why am I keeping all these notifications on for people who, if it comes to crisis, they know where to find me. They know where to contact me if an emergency comes about. So it's like, why am I using social media for that? I do not know. If anything, the notifications were causing me much anxiety and much stress. So then I realized I'm like, I gotta start going cold turkey on notifications. So I've turned them all off, and I logged myself out of all of my social medias, and I've even blocked them on my computer because it's like I want to go through social rest. I want to not be scrolling consistently. I don't want to be checking Instagram every 5-10 seconds just to see what's new and what's different. I want to kind of just pace myself in that regard. Same with emails. Like, I don't get a lot of emails, but some of them are work related, and it's just like, ugh, why? So I'm trying to limit that. And like Facebook Messenger, it's great, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really need to see that meme, or I don't really need to see that video that you think is hilarious because it's hilarious. So then the next one I want to talk about is spiritual. Now, I can't necessarily say that my spiritual rest has been affected that much because I don't really have that much of like a spiritual thing, but um and like going back to social rest for a minute, I don't really have like I do have social interaction with people. Like I do talk with my employers, and I do talk with my coworkers, and I do talk with my residents that I work for, and stuff like that. And that can be tough a lot too, because working with dementia patients, it's crazy. So going to like the spiritual, I think I think my spiritual is probably the least touched because I don't necessarily like, and it's not saying that it's like you have to be like religious in order to do this, but I think it's like, just taking more time for me to be present and for me to really slow down with things, um, is half of the battle. So, because it's like just recently I had started picking up doing yoga again. I've been trying to meditate in the mornings before I go to work, journal things out if it's been a long day or if my head just starts to come um starts to become unbalanced, then it's like, okay, gotta write it down here. Like, either write it down, put it in a voice memo, just anywhere. Even like something like this, like, just opening up the camera and just talking to it, that type of thing. So that would be spiritual rest. Like that would be a way of just spiritually resting yourself. Or just even going for a walk, going out and getting some of that sunshine and like just, being alone in your own head, but also trying to just clear all that mental clutter. And it even helps for creative endeavors. And quite frankly, my creative rest is getting worked on next week. I mean, my creative endeavor has been very, very low. And I have just been trying to look at different things, different ways of going about it creatively. Like, I've been starting to read books more. Um, and again, consistency. Like, I mean, I think that that's like my biggest number one